that's us back. We have baked
Hi.
our flapjacks. We have Mr. M here under control, or we're trying to keep him under control. So we've made your flapjacks, Ruth.
I know, and the smell is gorgeous.
Yeah. As you will see, they have not got Cadbury's chocolate on them, and they have sultanas in them as well.
Galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you want a corner bit or a non-corner bit?
Oh, I'll have it how it comes, please.
Okay, well I'm going to have the corner bit then. Wait a minute. So we baked this for 20 minutes.
You're serving yourself first.
I am, because I'm having the corner bit. If she's not letting me have Cadbury's chocolate on it, I think I get the bit.
Is it possible just to have half? Could be Ruth and I just have half of this?
But Ruth might not want half.
Alright, okay.
I think we're doing as we're told, Mr. M.
Oh, I see.
Honestly,
She's very boss.
it's like having
Can I just
children.
have a wee half of that? No?
Well, you can. Would you like to pass me a plate?
I just. So you know, just half it. No?
But you don't have to eat it all at once. Yeah.
Can I have your
Right.
knife then?
So we baked these for 20 minutes and we've left them to cool in the tin. If you try and take them out of the tin when it's still warm, it'll just break up, as Ruth's found out previously. So if you leave it to cool, but before it cools, mark it so that you're in your places. Yeah. Okay. So we can have a little taste test of.
Oh, I can't wait. So we can't talk now.
You're not.
No, because we can't talk because it's sticky and gorgeous.
That's okay.
Mother
'cause I
Murphy,
can
Mother
cook
Murphy, that is superb.
Are you happy with those? Yeah. So
Would you ever consider sprinkling a bit of gold sugar on the top, or would that actually be like no?
So you could do. You could sprinkle some sugar on the top when you take it out, and that'll kind of go a little bit crispy. I'm tempted. I'm tempted to say.
But you like your chocolate.
If you put sugar on the top of it, it'll make it a little bit too sweet.
Okay.
But
Just as like you like the chocolate.
There's me who would like to dip it in chocolate. The point is, and I'm always saying this about baking. I'm always saying this, that baking is about what you want. So funny enough, we were just looking at recipe books, and we were looking at all bread baking books just before we came back on film, and we were saying, you know, that you take from one recipe and you think, well, I like that recipe, but I don't like that bit, so but I like that one, and you put them together, and then you think, well, actually, I think I'd like mine with a little bit of sugar on the top of it. So you put a little bit of sugar on the top of it, or you dunk it in Cadbury's dairy milk because that's what you want. It's your recipe, you know.
Well, I know I'm listening to you go on about that, but I'm tasting the flapjack, and definitely if you put sugar on top of that, it would be far too sweet.
I think it would be probably.
It's as a person that doesn't take sugar in tea or coffee, then I can taste the sugar right through that.
No, so I don't think that Mr. M is actually allowed to sample cakes anymore, because after 20 years of living with him, I now know that Mr. M doesn't even like cake.
Well,
So,
it shows you how henpecked I am. I'm sitting here under duress. I'm told I'm sitting here. So, just sample cakes. That's why I says just give us a little bit. But no, you're having a slice.
you don't have to eat the whole slice all at once. Yeah.
But I won't waste food.
Yeah. But I'm not going to eat all mine on camera.
Well, when are you going to eat it? You take
When I've turned the camera off so that people don't have to watch me
And I'm
munching.
piggy in the middle.
I thought you were going to put it in your pocket for later.
Well, actually, these are really good for sort of taking away with you, and they're so full of energy. Yeah.
Maybe,
So, but you're happy.
maybe it's a way of getting it to be quiet. If I have you eaten, then you're not there.
Just eat your flapjack. Eat your flapjack. So you've enjoyed making those then?
Yeah, lovely, thank you.
Yeah.
And they're not, mine come out too thin and too hard, and they're just little bits, whereas this is like the consistency.
So what's the difference?
I think
What's
it's
more
thicker
syrup?
and I think it's moist. I think it's more moist because we've worked out that I'm not putting enough of the syrup in and probably the
But so
butter
you say it's
that's in
not
there.
thick enough, so when you bake it in the time, it's going to dry it out.
I think so. Yeah, I think I'm not using enough. I would say the syrup is one of the issues around it, and the thickness. This is much thicker than I would, because mine would be like about that, and it's breaking up.
So maybe
So-
use a small for your recipe. Maybe use a small tin.
For the, I mean, I wasn't involved in when you were doing this. So what's actually in these flapjacks?
There is oat, golden syrup, sugar, and butter, and sultanas.
I think we spoke off camera before about cherries. Cherry, I like a cherry through
You
it.
could put cherries in. You could put anything in it. But then you're verging on it being our fab slice, which is quite.
But I think the sultanas or whatever and the cherry, they complement one another. It makes it.
And that's just about people's choices. Yeah.
No, I know that, but just.
You never please everybody all of the time.
No.
That's it. You know. Even just 3 people together, you went, oh no, I'd rather have this or I'd rather have
Who
that.
do you think? Yeah, Ricky Nelson.
It's a good job that I know I can cut these bits out of the video, isn't it?
Why would you want to cut me out of the video?
Yeah.
Do you remember that song?
No.
Oh well.
So we were talking about your writing earlier on, and you told us about your hold your book up again for.
But that wasn't me, miss. And this is the first of the children's books, which was What Shall I Be? And you asked me a little while ago off camera why I made it so big, the children's book. Well, if you remember, I am a teacher, so I like a big display.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm used to being behind the book like this.
Yes.
So that's what.
So isn't that it's a
You
nice
used to
piece
hide
of
behind
this.
the book.
Yeah.
Why?
Always hidden behind
Why?
the book. Well, the children wanted to see the story, not me.
So one thing we didn't talk about was what you're doing now, what you're writing now.
Okay, so, well, I write all sorts of things. I am coming towards the end of writing my first thriller, come mystery, come murder, which is very different to Wasn't Me, Miss. And I am about 76,000 words in, nearly 80,000 words in. There's a little bit more work to do on that, but
How do you know? How do you know when you've got enough words in a book?
well, I aim for about 80,000 to 100,000. And in this one, there was 120,000, and then it gets cut
So
down.
how did
a
you
lot
get
when
to that? How did you get to that figure then?
I researched originally how big, how many words would be in a normal novel, an average novel, and it said between 80 and 100,000.
All right. See, I don't know.
So
these
then
things.
I looked, and then mine went to about 120. But when it was all smoothed out and edited and that, I think I dropped it to about 100,000 for this one. So it
When,
was,
I mean, people talk about writing books and such like. Would it add an awful lot of cost to the book by?
well, it does, because obviously each page counts, and what people don't realise is it counts in 4s. So if you are writing, if you've got a page to publish that book, it's actually 4 pages you need, because it's the backs and fronts of 4 pages really. So yeah, so you work in 4s.
Is it expensive for books?
It can be. It depends how you print them, how you get them printed. If you go with if you're a traditionally published author, you will, the cost will be taken by the publishing house. But then if you are self-publishing, you will.
So you're self-publishing?
Yes, I self-publish.
I don't know. I'm just talking to the camera.
Yeah, I self-publish. So, so pages do count what the cost will
So
be
it's
of the
going
book.
out your pocket
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, sure. Interesting.
yeah.
So how do the when you talk about the book, you talk about the covers, how does all this come about? I know Deborah talks about books, but I'm interested.
Well, each one's different. I mean, this one I wanted to portray what was typically in my my teacher's desk, because my teacher's desk was famously untidy, so there'd be pencils and paper clips and all sorts of things on it. And then I just wanted a spine that was really bright and colourful, and the kiddies represented that, the children represented that on the spine.
So
And then the back, I did contemplate having this rainbow effect on the back and the front, and then I decided not to go with it in the end. And I'm still in two minds of whether I did that right or not. But
I like the cover.
I think the rainbow represents all the colours and moods in the book. So there's some darker points in the book, and there's some lighter.
I thought maybe you took an inspiration from COVID and such like, because the rainbow and.
No, it's not really
There's
that.
nothing
No,
about it, no.
not really that. It just fancied that. I just fancied
fancied the
image.
colour.
Yeah.
So when are you hoping to get your next book
Good
finished?
question.
Then?
I'm not really sure. I mean, I was hoping to publish it last year, and then things got in the way, and life gets in the way, but yeah, I'd like to think it's finished by the end of this year, but I'm not sure.
So
I'm not sure whether I'm realistic about that. I'm not, I don't know.
I've had the pleasure of reading the first. I think I've read the first 12 chapters. So I am desperate for this book to be published now, because I want to know what's happening. I want to know who's done what I've read about. Yeah.
So, and that book is set in the Highlands, completely different style to Wasn't Beamers.
It is, yeah, completely different.
And in places dark, quite dark.
Is it different from other type of thrillers, this book?
I think people will be surprised as to who the killer is and the reasons behind the murder and all the little interlocking.
I hope you're not giving people ideas.
Well, the idea came from a very normal conversation on a bus with an old lady who told me a story.
The best ideas come from things
who
like that,
told me
don't
a
they?
story, and that inspired the start of this book.
Well, was it a story? Was it true?
I can't go into too much about it, but it involved a real horrific murder.
Oh, see, well, there you are.
So
Look out for the new Hamish Macbeth, yeah.
And Hamish Macbeth was written about the village that is similar to the village that I've based my story in. So I don't know if you know that, but yes.
I've read some of the book, when I was doing some of this kind of proof.
And since Deborah read the first version, little version of it, and edited and gave me a few ideas, that's considerably changed.
Changed a lot.
From even her suggestions, it's considerably changed.
Well, it's just sort of thought provoking, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing when you do
And
these.
there's several themes going through it. So it's called, the subtitle is A Prejudicious Death, and there's reasons behind why it's called that as well.
So that's the name of the book?
No, it's called She Who Was.
She
Who Was.
She
Yes,
Who Was.
there's a bit of a clue. So I know that one of the things you're working on as well is you're doing an art festival.
Yeah.
So here's your chance to.
Yeah. So.
Well, hopefully I am actually getting these videos up before this happens. So tell us about the festival.
Yeah. So as you know, and you come into the second festival in August, I was heavily involved in organising a book festival. And just before Christmas, I was contacted by organisers of our local hall, and they said, "Would you be interested in helping to organise a art and photography fair?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll come along," not realising what was involved. And so that's happening next week, and I'm going to be one of the stall holders, because one of my hobbies is taking photographs, and you know.
So where is that? What time is it? How do people get there? Where do you get the
So
tickets?
that
What's it
is,
cost them to
well,
get there?
it's free entry. It's in Ardgay, Public Hall in Ardgay in Sutherland, and it is on from 10 till 4 p.m. on Saturday the 22nd of June.
Okay. And for people who don't know where Ardgay is?
It's in Sutherland. It's about 15 miles away from Tyne on the A9, so it's about 40 miles above Inverness.
Okay.
So it's quite a trek.
It's a trek, but it's easy to get there if you're up in
Yes,
that, up
and
in that area.
there are trains to our village and it's right over the road from the. There's not buses on Saturdays for some weird reason. The buses don't run on Saturdays, but there's a few local trains coming from Inverness, so people can make the journey.
Good. So, well, that's been great hearing
Thank you.
all about your stuff.
Can we get on and eat the cake?
We can get on, and he's been eating his cake, so I'll have to cut out the bits where he's chewing with his mouth open and things like that.
You didn't, Jim, did you?
Yeah. So that was
I'm always getting in trouble.
That was a respite from my book, The Magical Tea Room on the Hill.
And you've altered it slightly, haven't you, for me?
Yes, which I changed. And as you see, I have my combination of the books with Beatrix in both of them. So thank you very much, and I hope you've enjoyed that.
Yeah, and thank you for the stay, and it was an amazing tea that Deborah put on with some of the writing group that we're involved in.
Yeah, we had an afternoon tea yesterday.
So that was
yes.
fabulous as well. The cooking was superb.
Yeah.
And thanks to Jim for hosting this
I
weekend.
wasn't on the weekend, yeah. I wasn't invited.
You've catered during the weekend, haven't you, for me? So
Well,
thank you.
well, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and
Thank
safe
you.
journey back home again.
Thank you.